Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Monomyth Diaries, a podcast where ordinary people get to share their hero's journey. I'm Mandy, and I'll be your host. We'll discover powerful insights, critical moments of growth, and much more. Thanks for joining us. We all have a monomyth to share, and someone out there needs to hear it. Welcome back to another episode of the Monomyth Diaries. Today, we continue the incredible journey with our guest, Melissa. In her first episode, Melissa gave us a glimpse into the challenges that shaped her and the strengths she discovered along the way. In the second part of her story, we'll go even deeper, exploring the turning points, the lessons, and the moments of transformation that continue to shape her life today. So let's continue to walk alongside Melissa as she shares the next chapter of her journey. Welcome back to the Monomyth Diaries, Melissa.
Thank you.
Glad you're joining us again. In our last episode, we left off with you have just been hit by a truck and you're in the ICU. We're going to pick up there today and talk about what was your mindset like when you woke up in the ICU?
Confused.
I bet.
Lots of confusion. So the first memory I have after the blackout is somebody cutting my clothes off. So I'm trying as hard as I can to fight it. I can't scream and I really can't move at this point because I'm so broken. So this fear and this terror come over me and then I black out again. And the next thing I know, I'm awake in the ICU. Before I woke up, I remember my mom holding my hand, and I hear her voice talking to somebody, and I don't remember what she was saying. And the next thing I know, I'm holding the bear. She brought the bear that I had in the car when I went for my leukemia testing, and so I recognized the ragged fur.
Oh, bless your mom.
Yeah, so there was that connection. Just that love is back and the support, and then I blacked out again after that. But yeah, so I wake up with all these tubes and I can't move my neck, and so like, what is happening? Kind of like a space alien abduction, you know, that you hear about, like what these aliens do to you and then they send you back. I don't know, that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of confusion. There was a random woman in my room sitting there reading, and then my mom and my dad are there to tell me what happened, that I got hit by a truck is basically the only thing anybody can tell me because no one's there that saw it or, yeah. And so
just for a moment, so for people who weren't listening, at this point in your life, you had a boyfriend and you had been drinking and partying with him when this happens. He wasn't with you when you were hit by the truck. Is that correct?
He supposedly was there. They took me in as like a Jane Doe because they didn't know what happened.
Okay.
There was speculation on if he pushed me, if I walked out trying to commit suicide, if I was just drunk and high and stepping off the curb. Like, we really didn't know what happened at that point. And so, yeah, when I wake up, I'm this Jane Doe, and I don't know what happened. And those questions start coming later. Right at that moment, I was just trying to figure out why I am this pincushion.
So this is when your parents start to explain to you what has happened.
Right.
At this point, they've figured out who you are, and they have notified your parents.
Right.
How long were you out?
I was out for 3 days.
Solid, okay.
Solid. And then coming back and forth with my mom and my dad there. And my mom finally told them, she's really sensitive to medication. You might want to consider backing the pain meds off a little bit. And they argued with her for quite a while. But my mom was used to that, going through the leukemia with arguing with medical staff and advocating for me. So they ended up listening. And then that's when I started coming back.
Okay. What a blessing the leukemia situation turned into be.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from that to get me through what I would go through for the next few months.
Right. And your mom with all the knowledge of your medical history.
Well, and through the leukemia, she built a strength that I had never seen in her. And then that carried on through to my injuries and how she handled me in the hospital at this point. And that brings me to another point. So my son was 4, and they came down and lived in my apartment and took care of him. And when I woke up, I'm kind of like, where is he? Mm-hmm. And he couldn't come in. So little kids weren't allowed to come in the ICU. And then later I find out she's telling me, when I come to a little more, that CPS is involved, and they're looking into the case to see if I'm a parent that can take care of him, or if I'm a druggie that, can't take care of him. And so questions of him staying with me start coming up.
I bet that must have been terrifying.
It was absolutely horrific because He was my sidekick. I always called him my little sidekick. You know, it was like Batman and Robin, and it was the two of us. And the thought of losing him was horrible. And we used to color pictures to each other.
Oh.
Luckily, my mom works for Family Domestic Violence Services, and she had knowledge of how this whole system worked. And so was able to kind of tell me what to say, what not to say, what they're looking for. And so I was able to use the right wording and explain what happened and try to gain the trust of these people. And then I found out the lady in my hospital was actually there to make sure that I didn't try to kill myself.
Oh, like a suicide watch.
Right. So they didn't.
They didn't know.
They didn't know what had happened. So all this going on, I'm like, I am not suicidal. I don't want to die. I don't want to leave my son. I don't want him taken from me. This is not who I am. Like, how these people are perceiving me is definitely not me. The person inside, deep inside me, is the straight A student ballerina. The bottom line is that's who I am. And I rebuild my connection with God, grow stronger, and just kind of mentally say, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take care of my son, and we're all going to go home, and everything is going to be okay. And so that's when the fight really starts, with mentally becoming aware of who I am, what I'd gone through, how to change it, and who I needed in my life. I knew that the people that I had been with, I mean, not necessarily that they were bad people, they just weren't a good community for me. And so I had to step away from that and kind of restructure everything that I had been doing.
What were the extent of your injuries? Right, because this is a big deal. You've got a 4-year-old.
Right.
I think you said you're in the hospital for 17 solid days. What were the extent of your injuries?
So I woke up to a reattached bronchial tube to my lung. So they attached my lung back together. My ear was reattached. I had numerous spinal fractures. My pelvis was broken. My clavicle was broken. The skin was tore off my back and the back of my shoulder. My ribs were broken.
This is a massive
Right.
accident. This was the first medical procedure to reattach. I remember you telling me one time that your bronchial tube?
Yes, that was the first successful bronchial reattachment in the United States.
Yeah, you're a walking miracle.
So it was hard.
So you're mentally struggling now with whether or not you're going to be allowed to have your son, and mentally struggling with my body doesn't work.
So the questions of will I walk start coming up. How am I going to take care of my son? You know, how am I going to do all these things? Like, and then all of the I can't do these things anymore come in. I can't run anymore. I can't dance anymore. All the things that I love doing, am I going to be able to do any of that again? And I'm a very active person. I don't do well just sitting still and relaxing. That's not me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fear setting in.
Yeah.
That's going to start to propel you into, as you said, you start thinking, I don't want to live this way anymore. I'm going to do something different. So walk us through what that looks like.
It started with strawberry milkshakes from McDonald's. I sat and watched a lot of TV because there wasn't a lot of other things I could do, and McDonald's smoothies had just started coming out.
Okay.
And so their commercials kept coming on TV, and at that time I couldn't eat. I had a tube down my throat. And so I'm watching these, and the strawberries sounded so amazing. And I was like, I want a strawberry milkshake, or a strawberry smoothie. So I was determined to get the tube out of my throat and eat again. And that was the first goal, was I want to be able to eat. And so I bent the rules. They took the tube out, but I was only supposed to have, I don't know, like Ensures and applesauce. And somebody left crackers up on a shelf in my room, and I looked at my mom and I said, give me the crackers. So that was the first, like, okay, I ate 2 saltine crackers. I'm such a rebel. And that's just the way that my healing happens. It's just like this mindset of, I'm going to do this. How can I make this happen? So after that, it was just trying to have these little moments of, yeah, this is really going to hurt and this is really going to be painful, but I have to get up. I had this big brace on because I couldn't move my back or my neck. And so it was really hard to move in general. And then my pelvis was broken. And so every bit of these little steps happening were monumental for me. Yeah. They were huge milestones for me. And so I just kept that mentality.
You're building up resilience.
Right. And that's pretty much my main focus at this point, is the resilience. And I talk about microfears a lot, and it stems from this fear, going back to leukemia, of blood work. You know, being poked. I don't want to be poked anymore. Like, it hurts, but you got to do it anyway. Like fear of taking pills even though you're going to feel gross. There's these little fears that we have along the journey to achieve the big goals or overcome the big fears. And I really think that played a part in leukemia, but I didn't realize it at the time. So then when I got hit by the truck, it comes back into play and I'm able to take these steps and keep moving forward. My parents eventually had to go back to Northern California, and my brother is who ended up coming out and taking care of me. He's 9 years younger than me. Our whole lives, I had been kind of like the mother figure to him, and so he comes out and he starts taking care of me. He took me home from the hospital, and I lived on the second floor of my apartment. I couldn't go up and down the stairs. I was still in this brace. I still couldn't walk. I had a wheelchair and a cane. And that was the next thing. It's like, I've got to be able to get up and down these stairs. Because my brother's going to go home too.
Right. And you have a son to take care of.
Yeah. So my brother took care of me for a while. And then my dad switches with him. My dad comes back down. And he stayed with me for months. We got really close and kind of rebuilt a strength in our relationship. I would say he was the perfect person to have come because he's really patient and would let me kind of stretch the boundaries a little bit. For instance, I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom. I'm going to walk to the bathroom. And it started with that. Like, I'm going to get out of this wheelchair, and I'm going to walk across the living room, and I'm going to go to the bathroom. It was that kind of thinking. And then I'm going to put a chair in the landing of the stairs in the stairwell. And I'm going to walk down the stairs to the stairwell to the chair, and I'm going to sit there. And I'm going to rest. And then when I feel strong enough and I can get through the fear of the pain of what's about to happen, I will go back up the stairs. So it was that kind of learning and healing and pushing myself that ended up allowing me to be where I am now. Mentally, there was a changing moment when I was sitting on my balcony in the wheelchair at the time. There was a runner going by. And she had brunette hair, skin like mine, and a lot like me. I just started crying and going, I'm never going to run again. I don't even know if I can walk. And I sat there in sorrow and feeling bad for myself. And then there was a turning point where I said, I can make a choice. I have a choice. I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can fight through it and try as hard as I can. And so I chose to run again. It started with the things in my apartment, and then I said, I'm going to walk around the block, and then I'm going to jog down the street and then finish the walk. I'm going to go halfway. I'm going to jog halfway, and it just became more and more and more, pushing through the pain, pushing through the immobility, learning the flexibility again.
The fear?
Oh, lots of fear.
Pushing through the fear?
Yeah. And showing up for my son and showing him, I'm going to be here for you. I want to play with you. I want to take you to the park. I want to play catch with you. And just having the strength to show him that it was possible.
He was a giant motivator. What do you think caused you to have that mentality, that mindset of, I can do this? Obviously, being hit by a truck, the fear of not walking, the fear of losing your son, I mean, that's going to give you motivation. But I'm just curious, like, what is it in you? I know you said at one point you reestablished your connection with God, and you've said you've always had this faith. Do you think that plays into it?
Absolutely. There was a moment when I was unconscious where I had kind of a dream that I was in an attic, and my grandparents were in the attic with me holding my hand, telling me it wasn't my time yet.
Oh.
And I was really scared. I remember feeling really scared. And again, not knowing what's going on. Confused, but knowing that I wasn't by myself. I don't know if it was a sign from God. I don't know if it was my gates. I don't know if I was dreaming or under medication. But, I truly believe that it was him talking to me and saying, it's not your turn yet. You have work to do. So that was definitely a key component to me growing after that. I also had other things that I looked to help me reestablish who I was, and AA was one of those things. So I knew I didn't want to go back to partying. I knew I didn't want to go back to that life. And at this point, I was looking for anything that would get me away from that and help me heal internally. So I did go to AA for quite a while. I learned a lot, and I thought, everyone should go to a 12-step program. I mean, you learn so much. You really truly learn who you are. You learn boundaries, forgiveness.
Introspect, looking at yourself.
Absolutely.
What was my part in this? Yeah, it's something that would be beneficial to anybody.
Yeah. I thought, what, even if I'm not an alcoholic, I need this. And so I kept going, and I had a sponsor, and I was in for quite a while, and I learned a lot. And at the same time, I started going to a yoga class, and I would cry. I'd be laying on the floor all relaxed, and the tears would just be coming down my eyes because it would be taking care of me. For the first time, it was looking at who I was and believing in myself and loving myself and forgiving myself for all the things that I'd done. And that's when the internal love started growing. And I thought, this is what I need.
Yeah. When we were talking about in the last episode about you were always looking for some sort of external solution to how you were feeling to solve your inside problems. And now you're realizing this has got to come from within. I have to heal the inside of me first.
And there's a lot of regret. I'm 30, 31, and just now realizing this and looking at my past going, oh my gosh, all the things I could have avoided, all the things that I could have done different. And I had to come to terms with, but this is who I am now. I have a beautiful son. I live in Los Angeles in the sunshine with the beach. I have to be thankful every day I wake up and take a fresh breath of air is a miracle.
Somebody described it to me once. It's sort of like when you're driving in your car, you have to look in your rearview mirror every once in a while. You have to glance at it. We have to look at our past because it helps us grow, but we can't live there. We can't live in that regret. Gotta glance at it so you can...
Reminder.
Yeah, a reminder to keep moving forward and do better than I used to do, but don't stay there. You can't stare in your rearview mirror and drive. Right. To me, that made so much sense, and I can hear that's what you're saying.
I like that.
I'm sure it was somebody in program who said that to me.
Maybe. I hear a lot of good stuff. A lot of coping skills.
So you're doing yoga and you're doing AA. What other tools and strategies are you using to grow during this time?
I did a lot of reading and reconnecting with spirituality. I ate better. I was really trying to take care of myself. I was in physical therapy, yoga, walking, trying to jog.
Do you have a day that you remember for the first time being able to run again?
Just to back up a little, I had done my first marathon before this happened.
Okay.
So for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Okay.
The organization is called Team in Training. They teach you how to run marathons and you raise money at the same time.
Okay.
So I had started running and I loved it. It was like I felt free. So when I wasn't able to do it, it was hard. Coming back to it, I remember exactly what I was wearing. So silly. Yellow shirt and green shorts. I don't know, but I could see it. And when I ran the block, that was an awakening moment for me. Like I did it. Another moment that was a woohoo moment. I went to my doctor and I'm in the wheelchair and they're like looking at everything and he took the brace off and I said, "Okay, can I run now? I got this."
So you say you're reading now. What kinds of things
it was all self-help. It was finding yourself and building strength and boundaries. And I think I just really needed to restart. I needed to hit the restart button. And I cleared everything out. And as far as community around me, and I found a church and just really started rebuilding from the foundation up.
What about your community and the people you're surrounding yourself with? What does that look like now?
So it was really lonely at first, but something amazing happened.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
My son and I were coming home from somewhere. We were on the second floor, like I mentioned, and so we're going up the stairs, and this apartment is right here on the first landing. And I look in, and there's this poor guy sitting on this ottoman in the middle of the room with no other furniture, sweating like crazy, red-faced. And I'm like, "Would you like some water?" He likes to tell it as, I said, "You look hot." But
I can see where he would like that.
Yeah. So I went up and got him water. That was the beginning, or like the roots to our relationship. And he had a roommate.
Can we give this man a name?
His name's Chris.
So Chris is your husband.
Yeah.
At the time he wasn't. So you're just meeting Chris.
Yes.
And he's moving into the apartment complex where you live.
We developed a friendship pretty much right away. At the time my dad was still there, I had been brace-free for a month before he moved in, so it was real fresh. And my son invited him to his birthday party, and then that was a month after they had moved in. So it was really fast. We just bonded. We felt like family, the two of them, and then us.
But at the time, you're just friends.
Right. It was really strong friendship. So I also had a new job. I was a behavioral therapist, and I was working with children on the spectrum. So there were a lot of times where I'd be across LA on the other side of town after school hours, and then my son's daycare ended at 6. And so I'd be rushing back, and there were times when the traffic was just horrendous, and I'd call one of them and go, "Hey, can you run and get Caden?"
Oh, that's nice.
So they're really, I was building my team and started relying on them more. Then one day, my now husband says, "Have you heard of Scouts?" He said, "Well, you should check into it and see, be good for Caden." So I look into it, and then I come to Chris and I go, "Okay, we joined. This is awesome. We have to build this really cool car. What do I do?"
Oh, okay, so let's talk about Chris for a minute. Okay, so actually we probably should talk about how we know one another. Okay, so you and I met through scouting.
Right.
Which used to be called Boy Scouts of America. Today we just call it scouting, right?
Yeah.
Scouting Across America or something like that. But we had met because our boys were both involved in scouts. And your husband was a huge component of my son's scouting journey. He helped my son become Weston, which everybody knows. All of our listeners know Weston. He's been on the show. I've talked about him a million times. Chris helped my son become an Eagle Scout because Chris is also an Eagle Scout. Mm-hmm. An Eagle Scout is the highest honor, highest rank that you can get as a scout. Mm-hmm. And it's very rare. Not a lot of people actually accomplish this, so it's a very low percentage. So this is where Chris comes in. So he invites you and Caden to scouting. And the Pinewood Derby is a big race.
Yes.
Like where they build their own cars and all the boys race them. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good bonding experience that the kids and the parents have.
And it usually takes at least a month to build a car. At least.
Yeah, it takes some time. It's supposed to take some time anyhow.
Yeah. Oh, and his roommate, James, is also an Eagle Scout. So
I did not realize that. Okay.
It's like me surrounded by scouting already.
Oh, it explains so much.
Yeah.
Because Eagle Scouts take this oath and they give back to the community and to the world, and that's just who they are. Oh, it all clicks together now.
So, yeah. So what they didn't realize is that if I were in, they would end up in scouting again too. And then my son is getting his first rank. So we're all at the ceremony where he's earning his pin and his new patch, and we're all excited, and so we invite them to come with us and watch, and they wear their uniforms because, well, you have to. And so they start talking, and then all of a sudden they're volunteering to help out too.
And they get pulled back into the world.
Yes. He became the assistant cub master, and then James, his best friend, became the den leader.
That's incredible. All right, so scouting is going to be a huge part of your journey now.
Yeah. I end up with this amazing family of scouters. And so that really became my family at that point. Healthy people, loving environment, they all care about each other in the world, and just all trying to raise these amazing kids. It was a lifesaver, really, for me. And of course, Caden had role models and friends and trees to climb.
Yeah, scouting's incredible. I love that we're talking about scouting. I had completely forgot we were going to talk about scouting. My father-in-law, who is also an Eagle Scout, is actually going to come on the show later this season and talk to us about his scouting experience and how much it changed and shaped his life. So this is very exciting. We get to talk about it twice, right? Yeah, you get a little preview.
Yes.
So you're getting a twofer. You're getting Chris and scouting for your son. All right, so tell us how your relationship with Chris evolves.
Through scouting. So because we meet so often and we're doing all these activities together, and this is my new tribe, he's part of that. So we're together a lot. We ended up just working really well together, bouncing ideas off each other. I become a den leader, so I'm now in a leadership role, and I've never done this before, and so I'm looking to these other people who have these leadership skills to guide me and to kind of help me and suggest ways to survive with 14 boys in my den. So through that, we grew really close. There was a point in our relationship where we were like, okay, this is starting to become more than friends. Let's talk about this. And it took some time. It took me some time. I was really scared that I would lose them as friends if it didn't work. Like, they live right below me. If this doesn't work, we're stuck with each other. Like, I had these bad relationships in the past. They knew that. So I'm talking to Chris about all this, and I was open. Over some time, we sat on the balcony and we had a business meeting, so to speak. And this is perfect for our relationship because we get along really well. I'm thinking about these things. What do you think? And then he would tell me, and we would kind of have this conversation. Where are you in religion? Where are you with finances? Where are you with parenting? We had all these conversations with all these topics to make sure we were compatible.
I love that. So this is probably a brand new experience for you. Yeah. Because you told us before in the last episode that your picker was kind of broken, like your man picker.
I don't even know if I had a picker at that point. Yeah, I had to regrow one.
But those are probably conversations you've never had before.
No. I was scared, but for me and for my son, I didn't want him to lose somebody that was now really important in his life, too.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah, okay. It was me respecting myself and also thinking about him. You know, he'd already been through enough, for sure. He didn't need another letdown. I was really cautious. I wanted to make sure that I took every step I could. I talked to my mom. She's like, but he's a really good guy. So then, yeah, I crossed over. I was like, okay, I was sold. And then we started dating, and it grew from there, and we ended up getting married in 2016. So, yeah, the scouting continues, and then I get pregnant with our baby girl. So her first scout meeting was 3 days after she was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah. This is how scouting works in my life.
Yeah, it's been a huge part.
It's a huge part of our family. After that, we moved from Los Angeles to Irvine, where my husband had finished his architecture master's, and he was now building his hours and working on his licensing. So he gets a job at a firm in Irvine, which is 45 minutes south of Los Angeles on a good day. And at this point, I've built this family and community, and we move, and then I don't have that anymore. Mm-hmm. And now I have a baby, and I'm alone. Or at least feeling alone. He was working a lot of hours trying to build himself and his career. Chris kept saying we could move. It took a long time and a lot of internal arguing with myself over what to do, what was the right thing. So we chose Houston.
That makes sense. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah. We came out, and I thought, okay, I can't be at home with kids, and I can't be by myself, like cave myself in. And in the past, that's what a coping mechanism has been for me. And so I was like, I can't do that.
I love that you recognize that. You have that awareness now.
My friends would be like, where are you? Okay. So we found a church. That was one of the first things we wanted to do, was find a church with kids in it. So our church had a preschool. It came up the first time we were at church that they were looking for preschool teachers. And through conversation, this lady had found out that I had this background experience. And she said, would you like to be a preschool teacher? And it wasn't the money that I said yes to. It was the people, the community, staying in touch with religion and my faith.
It's a position of success.
Yeah.
Rather than a position of finance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I thought, oh, from there, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
So my daughter ended up going to preschool there, and I taught. And it was a great opportunity to meet amazing people and learn to pray out loud. Because I had grown up, you're not a loud Lutheran, you're a quiet Lutheran. And so
pray in private.
Yes.
I grew up that we pray in private. That's the way I was raised as well. Mm-hmm.
I had never talked about religion to anyone. And so now I'm in this church that actually does that. And so it gave me the ability to kind of come out of my shell a little bit more. In the meantime, my husband had found a great job. He's still at the same company. We also ended up with our youngest, and he's 5 now, and a blessing, just like the other two. And it was a completion of the puzzle. Like, he was the last puzzle piece that we needed. So many blessings, so many things to be grateful for through the long journey to come out and be where I am now. That has driven me to have this feeling of now coming out and sharing that with other people. 3 years ago, I decided, okay, do I want to go back and get my marriage family therapist license. I've always been in the behavioral field or psychology, something to do with that. And I found coaching. Coaching is a very different way of looking at things from psychology, in that in psychology, you kind of work on past traumas and psychological disorders, and you come up to a baseline and heal. And then coaching is kind of taking that baseline and moving forward. You're good to go. Where do you want to take this? What goal do you want to hit? How do you want to get there? Let's create a plan. Kind of helping people move forward and progress and reach their goals. And that was what interested me more. I felt like I had a great education in breaking down a goal and taking these little steps to earn it at the end and overcoming all these fears. And I want to give that to other people. I want other people to see that they can get to where they want to go. And so, yeah, I went back and I got my certification and built up my hours. I'm now studying for my exam, which is slightly terrifying, but there's the fear, right?
I love that in the last episode we talked about how you failed out of college. Yeah. And now you just keep going back to school.
Well, I did end up getting my BA in psychology.
I know. Yeah. You just keep learning and growing and going back to school and tackling new, educational.
I love learning.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I want to fill my brain with so much. So that's a big component.
It is. And you have used your personal story in your coaching, because when you first started coaching, you weren't doing what you're doing now. What did you start with?
So I started working with moms who are trying to balance it all. Husbands working, them working, the household going crazy, how to handle it all. I feel like that was really important. And then I started looking at, okay, what are other underlying issues that are causing these things? And so then I thought, okay, work's a huge stressor. And if they're demanding long hours and you feel kind of not so great at work, how can we make that better? So then I started working in high stress environments of architecture, engineering, and construction.
That's a big shift.
Yeah. So working through learning boundaries in the workplace and learning communication skills and leadership skills and not taking it home.
That's a huge one, not taking it home.
Being able to pause and go, okay, which of these things do you feel is the most important?
And I remember, too, when we talked once, and earlier you mentioned the word microfears, how you had recognized that you had microfears early on in your journey, and now you're bringing that into your coaching. Tell us about that.
So I had a realization or connection from that, from when I was sick. And I thought, I'm still kind of insecure. Like, why am I so insecure? Like, I need to step out of my box and just go for things. Like, get up and karaoke. Like, just go for this stuff. Like, what's it gonna hurt? This isn't really insecurity. It's just a fear. Like, why can't I order something new in the restaurant? Why do I always order the same thing all the time? Why am I afraid that I might not like that? Mm-hmm. And so these kinds of things are what I started focusing on, like these little tiny fears and overcoming those and just going for it. And it's built confidence. Like every little win is bigger the next time.
I love that, because the confidence piece that you get from doing those things, even if it's the smallest fear, it's like a snowball, it just keeps adding and adding and adding. It's such a great idea. And so you're using this when you're coaching?
Yeah, I do. There have been a lot of times where they don't want to have a conversation with somebody, or they're afraid to bring something up that'll cause a conflict. And I'm like, okay, well, let's think about that. Why are you afraid of this? What underlying thing is it that you're afraid will happen? Let's work through that.
I think it's such a fascinating philosophy, because it's true. We all have these little micro fears that creep in about all kinds of things. If somebody would have said, well, you're afraid of something, I'm like, no. But if you just go, well, it's just a little micro fear. It's not a real big deal, but it's there. Okay, I can get on board with that. It makes sense. But if there's a whole bunch of them, it just cripples you.
Absolutely.
From moving forward.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And a lot of that happens with getting up in front of people or going to an environment with new people, because you don't know what to expect. And when you don't know what the expectation is, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, fear of being judged, fear of looking stupid, feeling of
saying the wrong thing,
fear of not looking like you're perfect, all kinds of things. Yeah, there are a lot of little micro fears. Are there any other ways that you're giving back to the community that you want to share with us?
recently reached out to the American Cancer Society and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Societies, and I'll be doing public speaking for those organizations. And then, of course, I keep up with scouting.
Yeah, you're a big part of your scout troop. Yeah, you're always holding roles and participating. Yeah.
One of the biggest enjoyments of scouting has been being a district representative and sitting in on Eagle Board of Reviews.
I didn't know you did that.
I do.
Oh, that's a huge job.
It's amazing.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, they teach me, these young kids, that they share their journey through the whole process and how they've grown and gone from little shy kids that don't talk to these young adults who are so well spoken and ready to fly, and it's just really cool.
All right, so if listeners out there want to know more about your coaching, where would they find information?
I have a website, www.iyjcoaching.com.
Okay, and we're going to drop all of that in your show notes. We'll put a little brochure up there for you.
And then I'm on LinkedIn too. So Ignite Your Journey is my business name. And I do public speaking and coaching. I actually just started working with a nonprofit that provides coaching services for free for military and EMS workers who've been touched by cancer in some way. So their family or themselves. I think that that's a blessing for a lot of people going through cancer and being able to talk to somebody else to help them get through it.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to give back to the world. You're taking your story and your coaching and giving that back. That's amazing. You keep answering all my questions. This has been like the easiest conversation ever. I don't have to ask you any. You just keep rolling. I love that. I will ask you this one question. How do you hope your Monomyth is going to uplift other people?
I really hope it gives them inspiration in whatever thing they're going through, that they can get through it. Just take little steps, one at a time. You can do your own marathon.
I love that. The last question that we always ask is an opportunity for attitude of gratitude. This is your opportunity to lift up any mentors, anybody in your life that's been a giant part of your story. You wouldn't be here had they not helped you along the way.
So many people. My doctor who got me through leukemia is probably one of the biggest, Dr. Freeman. I wouldn't be here without him, clearly. So, and his team. And then UCLA Medical Center. I hate saying it because I went to USC, and that's our rival, but they put me back together again. And then I have a lot of friends, Terry, Robin, Kat, Jenny, Britt, Carla. It's like the list can go on from there. And then my scouting family, who I love very much, and my husband, and of course my parents, so my family.
Well, I appreciate you being here today, and I know all of our listeners appreciate you being here today and being brave and vulnerable and being willing to share your Monomyth with us today. So thank you so much for taking the time, and we're looking forward to seeing how your journey continues to unfold.
Yes. Hopefully it helps other people and they get stronger too.
Melissa, I want to thank you for continuing to share your journey with such courage and vulnerability. Each piece of your story has offered us wisdom and hope. When we share our monomyths, we not only heal ourselves, but create space for others to heal too. If you found encouragement in today's episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your story matters, your journey has purpose, and together we can inspire transformation. Thanks for joining us on the Monomyth Diaries. If this episode resonates with you or someone you know, we'd love for you to share it and spread the inspiration. Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube to stay connected. We'd appreciate if you could take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more people with stories of transformation and growth. You can visit us at monomythdiaries.com or text us directly from the show notes to reach out and keep the conversations going. Until next time, heroes, let's journey together through our monomyths.